The Young Thug YSL Rico trial just gets more entertaining and comedic by the day. YSL already took the stand in front of the jury for the first time in 2 months, and anything that you ask him pertaining towards Young Thug, gang affiliation, or things that could implicate people and have him looked as a snitch, he just doesn't recall. Is Young Thug a gang member? I don't recall. Have you seen Young Thug around drug paraphernalia? I don't recall. Do you remember the testimony that you said that Young Thug was the person who did the shooting or at least hired the killer for Donovan Thomas? I don't recall. YSL Woody is just putting on a show. He's putting on a masterclass of finessing and making the prosecution look dumb. But what he did today was very interesting. Now, he name dropped multiple rappers who were, I guess, involved in Atlanta beefs, such as Young Thug, Wife, and Lucci. But the biggest one that he name dropped was Wife and Lucci, or should I say Rich Homie Quan. Now, he name dropped Rich Homie Quan and spoke about Rich Homie Quan's father was shot at a barbershop. And then when questioned about it by Mrs. Hilton, who is the second lead attorney outside of, Adriana Love, he almost acted oblivious. And the way that it went down today was insane.
Now, do you know an individual who goes by the name Rich Homie Quan?
Who is that?
Do you know a person who goes by the name of Rich Homie Quan?
Rich Homie Quan?
Yes.
Oh, the rapper?
He raps.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know him? Have you ever spoken to Rich Homie Quan yourself?
No.
Okay. Do you recall
I don't recall speaking to him.
Okay. Do you recall talking to Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis in this same interview about conversations you had with Rich Homie Quan?
No, I do not recall having a conversation about Rich Homie Quan.
And that Rich Homie Quan, you told Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that Rich Homie Quan was a part of If Gang.
I don't recall.
Okay. And that you told Detective Gaither and Dennis that Rich Homie Quan felt torn between being with If Gang and being friends with Thug.
Again, I'm just telling the police whatever that convinced them that I know what I'm talking about.
Okay. So why would you bring Rich Homie Quan into any of it? Why would that be
because
necessary?
I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't hear you.
Why would it be necessary to even talk about Rich Homie Quan
to
the police?
So when the police question me, my whole motive is to get them off of me. So if they sitting me down, laughing, hee ha ha, like you doing when y'all was up there asking me, and I told you I was lying, this is the same thing going on. They sit here. I don't know about them asking me about Rich Homie Quan or nothing. But if they bring up a name, if they ask me something, I'm going to come up with something that act like I'm in the midst, like I know what's going on. I don't sit around and gospel with people. I don't sit in people's faces. Like I'm out in the streets. I like to be I like to be outside. I'm not sitting around trying to listen to what nobody got to say.
Okay. But when you originally went to the police, it was to talk about being shot at on the highway. So what would anything about Rich Homie Quan, why would you need to talk about Rich Homie Quan at all?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't have a clue what you're talking about.
Okay. Isn't it true that that you told the detectives that Rich Homie Quan said to you, we the same set. You right here hitting these niggas this and that. So we talk. We the same set. I just can't turn my back on them. Like it ain't that, bro. This is what you're telling him. You supporting these niggas. Bro, I'm telling you, the more you supporting them, the more they gonna come out and do that. If you leave them alone, then everything gonna go away. And this is what you're telling Detective Gaither and Dennis that you said to Rich Homie Quan.
So let me Gaither was a gang investigator, and what she do is she sit in the neighborhood, watch us all day, and she put cases on it. So I know Gaither to sit there, and so when I'm interacting with Gaither, the main thing go through my mind is to convince her that I know what I'm talking about. That was my motive. So be bringing up Rich Homie Quan ain't never been like that in my eyes. So for me to be, I'm just trying to make it seem like I know what I'm talking about. What they say they want a big fish, and he's a big rapper. So shit, I'm trying to make up whatever I can come up with. I don't know. I don't remember what I said to no police. It's all stuff I just out the top of my dome. You ask me a question right now, I go out the top of my dome, and I convince you that I'm telling the truth.
Okay, so in response, you said that Rich Homie Quan asked for your protection. And he said, you told detective, then he's like, why don't you protect me, bro? We need y'all, bro. I need y'all to protect me. And you said, how the hell are we going to protect you?
Can you say it again?
Sure. In the same interview with Detective Gaither, you said after you spoke with Rich Homie Quan asked for your protection.
He a millionaire. What he need my protection for?
Why would you tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that?
They the police and they trying to get me.
Okay. Do you recall telling Detective Gaither about Rich Homie Quan's father's barbershop being shot up?
I don't recall nothing I said to no investigators.
And
A detective.
he thought that someone by the name of Tay shot up his father's barbershop?
I told you I did it.
No.
Oh.
You told the detectives that Rich Homie Quan thought that a person named Tay shot up his father's barbershop.
Well, I probably did. Ain't no telling.
Okay. But you were convinced that it wasn't Tay that shot up the barbershop.
What you mean?
You told Detective Gaither Dennis that you don't think it was Tay that shot up his father's barbershop.
So I told him he did it, or I told him he didn't do it. Which one is it?
You told them that Rich Homie Quan thought that Tay did it.
Okay, so then I told the police.
Correct.
And then I told him that he didn't do it.
That you did not think he did it.
Objection, Your Honor. Are these questions?
Yes, they are.
All right.
You can
Do you
tell
need me
by
to
the fact
repeat?
that her voice goes up at the end.
That was in California.
Well, it may be that too, but yes, these are questions.
Do you need me to repeat it? Okay. In your interview with Detective Gaither, did you tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that Rich Homie Quan thought an individual by the name of Tay shot up Rich Homie Quan's father's barbershop?
I don't recall.
Okay. In that same interview, did you also tell them that you did not think that Tay shot up the barbershop?
You confusing me.
I'll repeat it one more time and I'll separate it. In this interview with Detective Gaither, did you tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that Rich Homie Quan thought...
Asked and answered. That's the question you asked twice,
Uh,
second question.
Overruled, because it's certainly been asked twice or more, but it hasn't clearly been answered. He's sitting there saying right now, I don't know what you're asking me. I'm confused. So I'm going to permit her to try to break it down and ask it again.
So I'll start over. In this interview with Gaither and Dennis, did you tell Gaither and Dennis that Rich Homie Quan thought that a person by the name of Tay shot his father's barbershop?
I don't recall what I told the police,
Okay.
but I don't know.
All right. Now, my second question is, in that same interview, did you tell Detective Gaither and Dennis you did not believe that Tay shot up the barbershop?
I don't know. Okay. I don't remember what I said to them.
And I should ask this, do you know an individual, Tay, who's from Bankhead?
There's a million Tays in them.
Okay. Do you know a Tay from Bankhead?
A Tay from Bankhead?
Yes.
Not off the top.
In this same interview, did you tell Detective Gaither about this individual named Tay from Bankhead?
I don't know a Tay from Bankhead.
Okay. Do you know a Tay from the west side of Atlanta?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
How many Tays do you know from the west side of Atlanta?
Too many on the count.
Okay.
But not from Bankhead.
Do you know an individual by the name of YSL?
I don't know a person.
Okay. Have you ever met this individual?
You said, have I ever met him?
Yes.
No.
When you say you don't know him personally, what do you mean?
Because you said, have you ever met? We never shook hands. I never met him.
Okay. How would you describe knowing YFN Lucci?
He's a rapper.
Okay. Do you know him outside of being a rapper?
No.
Right. In 2015, were you aware of his mother's home being shot at twice? Excuse me. You're shaking your head.
I don't know nothing about him.
Okay. Do you recall in this January interview with Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis talking to them about Lucci's mother's house being shot at?
I don't remember. I don't recall.
Do you recall telling Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that people thought that you shot up Lucci's mother's house?
I don't know nothing about it.
Okay. Do you recall in this same interview back in January of 2015 with Gaither and Dennis that you were with Big Boo when Lucci's manager called trying to find out who shot up Lucci's mother's house?
I don't recall.
Okay. And do you recall during this same interview telling Detective Gaither that when the manager called Big Boo, you were present and overheard the conversation?
I don't recall.
And in the same interview, you told Detective Gaither that the manager told Big Boo that he had $20,000 for whoever shot at Lucci's mother's house.
I don't know nothing about it.
Okay. And that you actually took the phone from Big Boo and told them that you had nothing to do with shooting up Lucci's mother's house.
Okay.
Okay. Do you remember telling the detectives about
I don't
this?
recall.
Did that occur?
I don't know.
You don't know if you were present with Big Boo and took the phone away from him?
I don't know what y'all talking about.
Why would you need to tell Detective Gaither and Detective Dennis that if that did not occur?
Cause these things I'm hearing in the street, so I'm trying to convince them to get off of me.